J. Luke, the owner and operator of the Passionaires Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. You can get any of our merchandise at www.realtalkthattalk.com. All right, so as you can tell, I'm absolutely live, 100% live. This is not pre-recorded or something I had to do or something that I did earlier. I actually wanted to get in here and give y'all some lunchtime conversation. And so real talk, I was sent some information, or I was sent something that was posted up on the Book of the Faces. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to break this down, because I actually read through this, and this is actually discussing Stillman's band director, or former band director. And I read through this and I saw a lot of sentiments that were very, very similar to what the conversation that I had with Miss Fayesha Cole, or Mrs. Fayesha Cole, who was basically removed from the position over at Virginia Union. And a lot of the stuff that I read in this was very similar to some of the same things that she said, and very similar to the conversations that I've had with a lot of directors behind closed doors. So I want to go ahead and go through this. I want to talk about it. We're going to do a deep dive into this real quick. So let's just go ahead and break it down real quick. So if you haven't seen it, it's a very, very, very long, extensive piece of paperwork, but I'm really going to start kind of where he starts breaking down all of the information. So it says, after research, I learned that I was the 13th appointed band director at Stillman within a span of 24 years, which meant that on average, appointed band directors held their positions for an average of at least 1.5 years, the longest tenures being 4 years and the shortest being 3 months. This would have indicated enough for me. So basically what he's saying here is that it's a revolving door at that particular university. Now, here's my biggest thing, and here's my question. Why does it seem, and I'm only going to go off of what it seems, and y'all can have the conversation in the comment section or whatever, but why does it seem smaller universities, HBCUs, so on and so forth, seem to have a revolving door as it relates to band directors? My question is, why do the band directors not feel supported? That's my biggest question. Why do the band directors not feel supported? Why do the band directors feel as though something is not right when they walk into that position? And I know what ends up happening, right? You get the opportunity as a band director, because I know this, I've experienced it myself, right? You get the opportunity to walk inside of a band room and say that I can make the difference, I can make the change, I'm going to be the one, right? And then you take that position hoping and praying that you can be able to implement some of the things that you would like to implement. Well, let's be real. We've watched Stillman, right? And production was happening, you know? And so with that being said, I can't figure out for the life of me why we have lack of administrative support when we're talking about historically black colleges and universities and their band programs. And now we have a revolving door, and I'm pretty sure it's not just the people at this point, right? When we talk about relationships, think about it. When we talk about relationships and we want to always try to point the finger at somebody else, sometimes you got to look inward, and it's not the band director's fault at this point. I don't believe it's a band director's fault. If you have that high of a turnover rate where you're talking about what do you say, 13 band directors within the last 24 years, then that's not the band director's fault. In my opinion, that seems like an admin fault. And then he goes on further to say, during his tenure as band director, he reported to 5 different VPs of student affairs within the span of 1 year. 1 year? 1 year. So my question, what's happening in our HBCUs? Let's just have a real big conversation about that, right? What's happening in our HBCUs that so many things are being shifted? Why is it that our directors can't find administrators, and I'm not saying this is happening in every HBCU, so let me be very fair in saying that, but reading this, having the conversations that I've had behind closed doors with different directors, why does it seem as though administrators at HBCUs cannot be supportable, right? And cannot support? My biggest thing is, and this is, I'm pretty sure has happened on multiple occasions from multiple band directors, where you have a situation where you walk into there and they tell you, we want this size band, right? And you get that band. or you start building towards that band, or you want to build towards that band, but then they don't support you financially. They don't support you in the things that you need in order to get that. And we're going to keep going further into this conversation because he does get into that. So it says right here, at fall move-in in 2023, himself and other staff had to act as housing and assist students with moving in. So we didn't lose them, obviously, right? Because you want to try to keep the kids that you brought in because of disorganization, only to then receive blame for moving students in rooms, which was not his responsibility to begin with, right? Again, here goes the other question. What is going on in our HBCUs? I don't just put that on Stillman. These are not conversations that are just happening just at Stillman. These are conversations that are happening at other universities too, but people just aren't talking about them. I'm going to give you, and I've said this before on Talk That Talk before, and I'm going to have the same conversation right now, right? When I went to Texas Tech, graduated, got my master's from Texas Tech. When I went to Texas Tech, the one thing that I realized in being in that particular place was I was supported. As a student, as a graduate student, I was supported. When I stepped on campus, when I had a housing problem, they fixed it. All of these things ended up happening. Like, they were able to take care of it. They called me personally and said, yo, this is what our situation was. We saw what the situation was, and then we're able to solve it. You're able to do X, Y, and Z, right? Why is it that at HBCUs, we all have horror stories and that quote unquote bonds us together? Why does that have to be the bonding of our HBCU experience? We stayed in this particular financial aid line for X amount of time, and then all of a sudden we got a nasty attitude, or we had a housing issue, and then we all come together at the congregation in the barbecue, and we like, ha ha ha, yes, that's what connects us. Why do we have to have these stories? Why do we have to do that? Specifically for people who are on staff, or university band directors or whatever, who are trying to build band programs, and you got to go over there and deal with that. Was this brother supported? Doesn't seem like it, right? Let's keep going further. He said for the last 2 years, the budget for the band was not actualized until halfway through the semester. And when it was loaded, we were given instruction to only utilize 30% of the budget lines. 30% of the budget lines? All right, so let me have a quick conversation with administration. And this is not only just at HBCUs, this could be at any particular place. If you want a band on the field, if you want a band to produce, it costs dollars. It's not just free, right? The funny thing is that whenever you need somebody to come and shuck and jive for you, whenever you want to show yourself off in your university, who's the first people you call? Now, here's a fun fact. If you wanted to get a DJ for an event, you would pay that DJ, right? So why does the band not get paid what they're worth? Why can't we get administration that supports band programs? You tell this man that you can only spend 30% of your budget. What's that gonna do? It's a hot meal, maybe. Instruments cost money. Uniforms cost money. Travel costs money. Getting the kids and keeping them in school costs money. And at some point, we got to get to the point of saying, all right, where are we going to make the sacrifice for the betterment of the student? Because isn't this about the student in the first place? If it was your kid, if it was your niece, if it was your nephew, hello, you would want them to be in the best position possible. You would want them to be taken care of. You have people who are sending their kids out to universities to be taken care of, and you don't even want to support them to grow a band program? Let's not even talk about the pay that some of these band directors are getting. Let's not even talk about the fact that some of y'all won't even support them to have a staff, a true staff, a real staff, a paid staff. People got to pay them under the table. And like I said before, man, if anybody out there has read Nathan Hamer's book, why does it seem like some of the same stuff that was in his book is literally happened to this brother? Some of the things that was in his book was some of the things that happened to Mrs. Fayesha Cole and others, many others. Let's continue. Funds in the band's fundraising account were misappropriated by admin, and not returned until halfway through the spring semester. These funds have been budgeted to enhance our recruitment efforts and develop a media team. Admin. Let's be real, man. It's more than just getting kids out on the field to shuck and jive and put a horn to the face and just blow. And you know, one of the things that I really find interesting is the fact that we do it to ourselves. We fight every day and we have arguments about, you know, protecting our own and doing our stuff for our own. What's going on, bro? Protecting our own and doing stuff for our own. But then we get into a room and we do this stuff to our own selves, our own people. We do wrong to our own people. We got these big, huge egos. My brother walked in here and he used to make a valid point. The secretary to the president makes more than some band directors. You got admin taking money from this brother, taking money from his recruitment. But then you'll probably come down on these brothers and say, well, they ain't performing to the level of what I need them to. Or you still gonna try to call them for whatever random performance that you have. I need you to go perform at the McDonald's for the university. And you do it, one, because you want to try to protect the job. Two, because you want to continue to give these kids an experience. But at what cost are we going to say, you know what, enough is enough? Keep reading though. He says, I was threatened to be suspended without pay for not uploading performances to Google Calendar by the acting VP of Student Affairs. I don't know. I don't know if I want to tackle that one. I mean, at that point, I ain't trying to be funny. You know, if that's part of the job, you just got to upload the performances. So we ain't gonna jump on that too much. But the band here it is. The band scholarship budget was cut almost $150,000 in late April 2024. He had been on the road recruiting out of his own money and vehicles since October 2023, having accumulated a tentative roster of 63 freshmen, and then told to just award the returning students and divide what's left among the incoming freshmen who had already been awarded. That's interesting. That's very interesting. You cut your budget, you cut their budget by $150,000. $150,000. Let me look this up real quick. Not trying to be funny. I'm gonna take some time right quick to see what it costs to be a student at Stillman. Tuition, Stillman tuition. Tuition per semester $4,774. a year. Per year, 10,000. 10,000. We'll just go 10,000. When you cut a budget, about 150,000. Look how many students that you could have had into that program. But then you gonna say, again, come and shuck and jive for me. I need a band on that field. We need our YouTube clicks. We need our likes. But at what cost? Again, why do we keep doing it to each other? Why do we got to show that I got the big nuts on campus? Yeah, I said it. I said big nuts. It's my school. Again, isn't this about the students? That's the one thing I just keep playing over in my head. We can talk about the student growth, student development, all that kind of stuff, but you know, Quan says it all the time. This thing is a pimp game. Well, why has it got to be like that at our schools? Why has it got to be like that at our universities? And I'm gonna be honest, man. This is what I was thinking about when I was reading this last night. At what point are we collectively going to stand in solidarity with one another and say we won't accept X, Y, and Z? If all HBCUs, and this is maybe this is me thinking too high. Maybe this is me thinking too high. You all tell me, if all HBCUs band directors got together and said this year we won't step on the field until things change, what do you think will happen? Just out of curiosity. What do you think could happen? And you know the unfortunate thing? Here's the unfortunate thing. And this is the one thing that we talk about all the time on Talk That Talk. For every brother that won't, there's a brother that will. That's the problem. That is the problem. Because think about it. If this brother, he said he saw the red flags and he still made a decision to take the job. Now, I'm not going to dictate or talk about what his reasons are. He may have had his reasons. He may have family. He may have, whatever, but he took the job. Now, I'm pretty sure after taking the job, he's realized, when I see the red flags, don't run towards them, right? And that may be a learning lesson for him. But this is also a learning lesson for younger people who are looking to be in the position or be in a position. The problem that we end up running into is the fact that a lot of people just want to be able to say, I'm the band director at da-da-da-da-da-da. So the brother who has the integrity now to say, I'm not going to accept that, we're not going to accept that, they may move on and they may find something else or they may find something greater. But the problem is that there's going to be another brother that says, well, shoot, I will. 30,000 a year, 40,000 a year, 50,000 a year to be the head band director at so-and-so university. Well, you ain't getting the staff. I'll make it work. That's the problem. When you make it work, you show them that you can make it work. And once you show them they can make it work, you can make it work, guess what's going to happen? They going to go to the other university and they going to be like, yo, we made it happen for less. And then they going to go to that university and that band director and say, hey, they make it happen for less, so make it happen for less. My biggest gripe for all of this is two things. One, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be about the student. Absolutely. A regular school teacher makes more money. You're absolutely right. A regular school teacher does make more money. But again, we are, and like I said, I don't disagree with you, but we are at a point, we're at a place right now where The truth of the matter is, a lot of people do just want to be able to say that they're the band director at so and so. I got the university gig. But again, at what cost? And like I said, like I was saying, it's about the student. If it's about the student, if it's truly about the student, and this is from admin, I'm not talking about the director. I'm talking about from an administrative perspective. If it's about the student, then do what you can and do what you must to make sure that that student has a great experience. You know, I'm gonna go back to my Texas Tech days real quick. When I graduated from Texas Tech, you know, I was automatically a part of the Alumni Association when I graduated. Did y'all know that? Probably didn't know that. When you graduate, or at least when I graduated, I was automatically a part of the Alumni Association. They pay your alumni association for a year. But then we talk about HBCUs giving back. Like, when you leave, make sure you give back. Right? And I'm not saying that people don't give back. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I've never said that, and I probably will never say that. But what I will say is, it's kind of hard to give back to a place that kind of did you wrong to some degree. I couldn't get a lot of scholarship money, or they made a shucking job over here, but they ain't give us a lot of money, or they only had enough money to give us bread and water. Now I know people ain't eating prison food, bread and water at HBCUs, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's difficult to be able to give back to somebody who did you wrong, is my point. And again, if it's about the student, then let's truly make it about the student. But the other half of that is, again, like I said, we got to stand in solidarity with one another. It makes it very interesting in the fact that people have the conversations about the things that are going on behind closed doors, and it's fine. I get it. You want to protect your job. You want to protect your career. I get all of that. But I'm going to continue to speak out about it, because wrong is wrong and right is right. Period. But people are going to have the conversations behind closed doors, but it's going to take the solidarity to be able to say, hey, we collectively are not going to take it. It's not going to help that school boom, 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 school 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to say, well, we not taking it, but school 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is like, well, I'm just going to deal with it because, you know, I ain't trying to mess up my money. Solidarity gets things done. Are we talking college only? In this specific case, yes, because I'm actually talking about the brother from Stillman, who recently left his position, and this information was sent over to me, Brother Dotson. But again, it's a really sad thing, and you know, I'm glad to hear that this brother has found another position. You know, I'm happy for him. Build, grow. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, I truly believe that we got to do better for our directors, our band directors at HBCUs. We as HBCUs have to require better. We can't just accept anything. Man, I don't gotta turn my volume, but no, we can't just accept. My daughter was messing with my mic, so if it's super low, that's probably why. All right, I hiked it all the way up there. Oh, now it's ringing. But yeah, we as band directors, we can't just accept anything. But I also think on the flip side of that, again, we got to stand in solidarity with one another. And if you see the red flags, if you're going into a position and you see the red flags, if you see something, say something. I'll put it that way. I don't believe in no snitching. That just ain't me. It ain't me. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And we got to do better for our directors. We got to support our directors, small universities, large universities, because guess what? Just because you at a university with a band size of 200 or more doesn't mean that they're not experiencing some of the same problems. Let's keep it a buck. you may see them more often thanks to, you know, people like my good brother Justin and, you know, Showtime and all of them, because they're more or less in the spotlight more. That don't mean that they ain't experiencing some of these problems. And so that's why I say it works to be able to stand in solidarity with one another to say, we're not going to accept this. This ain't cool. We need to be able to say, hey, there needs to be a conversation where everybody comes to the table and say, these are the things that we're not going to accept. And everybody follows through. And I understand, again, job security is a thing. It becomes difficult to be able to make that decision. But at the end of the day, we have got to do better as a people. Everybody loves HBCUs as a culture. We love HBCUs. I think the unity that I experienced at an HBCU, to me, in my personal opinion, was unmatched. But we also, in a lot of cases, specifically what I'm talking about in this particular sector, when we're talking about band, we do our own people wrong. We do our own people wrong. And we got to do better. We got to do better. That's all. That's really all I can say. So with that being said, man, like I said, this was a random lunchtime joint that was just really on my mind. And I saw it and I wanted to go ahead and get it off my chest. And so you guys tell me what you all think inside of the comment section, man. Go ahead and share this information out. I've already made the announcement. Yeah, we'll be back in September when it comes to Talk That Talk. So we will be back in September. National Battle of the Bands is coming up, so make sure you all check that out. I definitely, I definitely will be there. We will be there. I think me and Quan are actually going to be there. Portia will not be there because Portia will be at the FAMU Norfolk game that same exact weekend. So she won't be there, but definitely me and Quan will be in the building. So I look forward to not only the experience of being there, I think it's the 10-year, but also being able to see some faces, man. If you're running to me, man, let's chop it up. I don't have no problem with that. Other than that, man, I have nothing else. This has been great. Again, leave y'all comments inside of the comments. Comments inside of the comments. Good God, I don't believe I said that. Leave your comments inside of the comment box, and I will get back at you guys, man. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you all for listening, and I will see you all next week.